Islam partner, we having a little technical difficulties. Work with us. Islam.
Islam. Happy Wellness Wednesday.
Allah, the Father of the universe.
Allah, the Father of the universe.
Father of love.
Father of love.
Truth.
Truth.
Peace.
Peace.
Freedom.
Freedom.
And justice.
And justice.
Allah is my protector.
Allah is my protector.
My guide.
My guide.
And my salvation.
And my salvation.
By night.
By night.
And by day.
And by day.
Through his holy prophet.
Through his holy prophet.
Through Ali.
Through Ali.
Amen.
Amen.
Brothers and sisters, I want to welcome you back to life, back to the Holy One that can make your next chapter your best chapter. Listen, how could this be that you love the most unlovable part of me? You help me see the only thing in life we need is purity to be free. It's amazing with you. We win even if we lose. Everything's working for our good for always. All I say every day, he sent us through. He won't fail, that's not what superheroes do. No greater love, make my heart beat. All I wanna do is make him proud of me. I just wanna love everybody like Allah. Love everybody like Allah. Love everybody like Allah. I've come to see the holy covenant is how we practice creed. Under our fig tree, we've been redeemed. Cause wisdom, will, and love is universal deed. This is heavenly. It's amazing with you. We win, we lose. Everything's working for our good for always. All I say today, he sent us through. He won't fail, that's not what superheroes do. No greater love, make my heart beat. All is make him proud of me. I just wanna love everybody like Allah. Love everybody like Allah. Love everybody like Allah. I just wanna love everybody like Drew Ali. Love everybody like Drew Ali. Love everybody like Drew. You just gotta learn to love instead of hate. You just gotta learn to love instead of hate. You just gotta learn to love instead of hate. You just gotta learn to love instead of hate. Learn to love instead of hate. Learn to love instead of hate. You just gotta love everybody like Drew Ali. Love everybody like Allah. Love everybody like Allah. Islam. Happy Wellness Wednesday.
Yes, first I
Allah.
rise in thought to give praise to the one who is supreme, most wise and beneficent, and to him alone belong worship, adoration, thanksgiving, and praise. I give high honors to Prophet Noble Drew Ali. I give honors to all true and divine prophets, Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, Confucius, etc. I give honors to the forerunner, Marcus Garvey. I give honors to all past leadership, Brother C. Kirkman Bey, Brother F. Nelson Bey, Brother J. Blakely Bey, and the former Grand Sheik and moderator, Brother R. Lovell, on to the current Grand Sheik and moderator, Brother R. Jones Bey, and his assistant, Brother Azim Hopkins Bey, to the Grand National Chairman, Brother P. Chase Hill, and his assistant. I give honors to all national, state, and local officials. I give honors to all Grand Governors and their assistants, all Grand Sheiks and their assistants. I give honors to our Grand Sheik at Branch Temple, number 11, Syracuse, New York, Brother S. Aniel Bey, and his assistant, Brother C. Martin Stansu Ill. I give honors to our two flags combined, the American flag and the Moorish flag. I give honors to the charter, all of the remedies, all the literature brought for the uplifting of fallen humanity. And I give honors to man. When a man honors man, he honors his father, God, Allah. Islam. I want to take a read from the Holy Quran of the Moorish Zion Temple of America, divinely prepared by the noble prophet Drew Ali by the guiding of his father, the great God of the universe, to redeem man from his sinful and fallen stage of humanity back to the highest plane of life with his father, God, Allah. I'm going to take a read from page 31, chapter 19. I'm going to read instruction 25 and 26. And all the priests and masters stood and said, all hail, what message from the royal council do you bring? And Jesus said, my brothers of the silent brotherhood, peace on earth, goodwill to men. Praise Allah. I also want to take a read from the Moorish literature. I want to read from the editorial, what is Islam? Islam is a very simple faith. It requires man to recognize his duties toward God Allah, his creator, and his fellow creatures. It teaches the supreme duty of living at peace with one's surroundings. It is preeminently the religion of peace. The very name Islam means peace. The goal of a man's life according to Islam is peace with everything. Peace with Allah and peace with man. Praise Allah. Today we'll be talking about our third principle, peace. That's our supreme duty.
The supreme duty. Praise
That's
Allah.
one of our duties. You know, the Quran says reflection is the business of man.
That's right.
In the sense of his duty, you know, a sense of his state, his first duty. It's his first duty, but we also have a supreme duty. That's our first duty, but we're going to be talking about the supreme duty, you know, being at peace with one's surroundings.
You know, when you read that, I was thinking about justice, where it says the peace of society depends upon justice. Justice with your lower self. When you put that lower self, that justice on that lower self, you beget peace, not only with yourself, but in society.
That's right.
And then you have the enjoyments of life individually and in society. So peace is a very powerful demonstration. So praise Allah that we are able to, you know, be here today with you to discuss peace. In our first keynote, I have here, peace creates harmonious conditions for oneself and humanity on a whole.
Mm-hmm.
So from what you just read, you said peace on earth and goodwill to men. Can you
Yes.
expound on that a little bit?
Mm. Well, they asked the brother Nazarite. They asked the child of promise,
Mm-hmm.
the day star from on high. You know, they asked him what did he, you know, what from the royal council, what do he bring? I'm paraphrasing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he said from the silent brother he brings peace on earth, goodwill to men.
Right.
You know, because that's the supreme duty on this plane to manifest.
Mm-hmm.
Is for us to strive to be at peace with ourselves and everything surrounding us.
Right.
You know, that's Islam.
That's Islam.
That's Islam. That's
Wow.
peace. Islam.
So the reason why I asked that, well, I brought that keynote is because the video that you all seen, it's a demonstration of the nation being at peace.
Yes.
So we give high honors to the different events that you've seen occurring. The Temple 34's Charter Day, 88th Charter Day.
Mm-hmm.
We had the honors to celebrate with the Grand Sheik and the members from across
Mm-hmm.
the nation. Grand Sheik Brother Cyrus Hill, high honors. It was a beautiful Charter Day celebration.
Yes.
Our Grand Sheik Brother S. Aniel Bay was able to be in attendance.
Mm-hmm.
Sister Dunbar Bay, Temple 28, Temple
48.
54, Temple 48.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. And when you can come together to fellowship in that way, that begets peace. It was just a peaceful demonstration. So
yes, it was.
That's what we're showing here. All the peaceful demonstrations that took place in the last 2 or 3 weeks, I should say.
Okay. Yes.
And we had the Grand Governor's Ball,
mm-hmm.
which was in New Jersey. What was that? New Jersey?
No, that was Cherry Hill.
Cherry Hill, New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
We celebrated with Temple 11 and many other temples across the nation, the Lattimore Bays, and what's the other brother's name of his wife? All the Moors came out for
Stuart Ill, I believe.
Stuart Ill and his wife.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. The National Grand Sheik and moderator was able to be in attendance. Sister Dunbar Bay again, 28, 48,
Sister J.
11, Sister J. Arthur Ill.
Mother Love.
Mother Love was in the building. So all the
there was
love,
a lot of peace.
A lot of
peace in attendance.
A lot of peace
and we talk about
in attendance. We're talking about peace.
Our supreme duty.
Yes. And then also, me and myself and Brittany had the opportunity to celebrate with the Buffalo Soldiers.
Yes.
For Brother Ferguson Hill and his colleagues from the service were able to give to the community some music, some food, some uplifting vibration. That's social duties that begets peace. So we just wanted to share that. And also we like to give honors to Temple number 3, Sister Higgins Eel?
Higgins Bay. Oh, yes.
Higgins Bay.
Charter Day.
Charter Day is today. So I don't know how many years that is. I'm not too sure. I think it may be on that flyer. But happy Charter Day to Temple number 3. High honors to you for keeping the doors open, Moors. This is what peace begets. When we know how to fellowship, we know how to show love and be in attendance of all of our, the organizations. What did our Lord say in chapter 7, instruction 7? I'm sorry. What do our Lord say? I don't have it with me.
Divine Constitution.
The
Act 7.
Act 7. That's Act 7.
Yes.
Because it says you have to be a part of all
uplifting acts. Yes.
Right, uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple of America. And praise Allah that it wasn't just us. We had other people in the communities and families to join us. So we thank all the Moors for keeping the doors open and staying active.
Yes.
Peace makes you want to be active, right?
Chapter I think it's chapter 48. We talk about all nations. Chapter 48 or 46.
Speak about what?
All nations in these days are seeking peace.
Seeking peace. Yeah, that's
Mhm.
no, that's in chapter 46.
46.
All
Okay.
nations of the earth in these modern days are seeking peace, but there's but one true and divine way that peace may be obtained in these days, and it is through love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice
being taught
universally
universally
to
to
all nations and all lands.
lands. That's right.
Wow. So that's a duty. That's a supreme duty.
That's our supreme duty.
Wow.
Yeah. Reflection is our first duty.
Reflection.
Peace is our supreme duty.
That's right, dear brother. Supreme duty. Okay, so Brother Baby, you spoke about that being our supreme duty. There's in the chapter it speaks about the Prince of Peace, speaking about a prophet, right? And if he's the Prince of Peace, that's a royal title. To be at peace or demonstrate peace is royalty. See, we get fixed on the outward show of things.
Yeah.
But if we understand that just being a peaceful sister or brother is royalty, you already won.
Yes, that's right.
As a nation, you already have you're ahead of the game. You're ahead of all the illnesses in the world. If you obtain peace, the principle of peace, a heart of peace, then you can be healed from the heart from being sick. It's the opposite.
Yes.
Peace. Right? So I'm looking for my notes here. So here we go. Because peace is needed in society, happiness of the individual and safe enjoyment of all one's possession. What you possess, your family. You want to speak
charity? Charity. Our chapter on charity mentions peace on earth and goodwill.
Yep.
Let me go to it.
Yeah.
The chapter on charity covers
it's
it
chapter
as well.
32.
Page. What page is that? Charity. Yeah. Okay. Yep. He promoted in his. This is instruction 9. Found in chapter 32. Holy instruction from the prophet Charity, instruction 9. He promoted in his neighborhood peace and goodwill, and his name is repeated with praise and benedictions.
Now, have you ever thought that charity had anything to do with peace?
No, because the way our divine instructions are set up, the way the prophet brought it, is he gave us, charity is it's a universal demonstration. It's an inward demonstration. It's personal. It's personal. It's not how we were taught charity, or what we thought charity was, to just, give someone something. Charity is of great responsibility. When you read the chapter on charity,
it's a gift.
Yeah, it's not just giving someone something and walking away. It's a great responsibility. If it's not coming from a sincere place within your heart, it's really not charity.
I learned that
it could be flattery.
It can.
That's why we got a chapter on charity. Right, it tells you what charity is.
But charity, if it becomes vanity, then it's not an organized thought.
Right.
Because in charity, it's organized. It's an organized thought.
Can I read a few of the instructions?
Sure.
Just so it can speak for itself.
That's right.
Happy is the man who have sown in his breast the seeds of benevolence. The produce thereof shall be charity and love. From the fountain of his heart shall rise rivers of goodness, and the stream shall overflow for the benefit of mankind. He assists the poor in their trouble. He rejoices in furthering the prosperity of all men. He censureth not his neighbor. He believeth not the tales of envy and malevolence. Neither repeateth he their slanders. He forgiveth the injuries of men. He wipeth them from his remembrance. Revenge and malice have no place in his heart. For evil he returneth not evil. He hateth not even his enemies, but requiteth their injustice with a friendly admonition.
Now stop there for a minute. I want you to continue to read, but I want you to
Okay.
stop there because I want to
Mhm.
talk about this in real time.
Mm-hmm.
We have to learn how to forgive
Yes.
injuries of
Mm-hmm.
men. We're
Mm-hmm.
not saying this is something that we made a part of every part.
Part.
We're
No.
still making it. We're still striving to make sure that we practice this
Mm-hmm.
thought. We're changing the way that we think.
Yes.
Remember, thoughts are things.
Yes.
So now, when you indulge in this instruction,
Mm-hmm.
you create something. You create
Yes.
better conditions. That's why you hear the
Mm-hmm.
more say, if you think your conditions can be better,
Mm-hmm.
join the More Science Temple of America, because this is a uplifting and it's
Mm-hmm.
reconstruct reconstructing your behaviors
Yes.
and the way that you think.
It's
Be giving back,
building character.
building up the character. So when you said forgiveness,
Mm-hmm.
when you said forgiveness of the injuries of men, he wipeth them from his remembrance only when you practice.
Yes.
And it's a beautiful feeling when you
Yeah.
can start and it takes time. It ain't gonna happen overnight.
Right. Yes.
But when you take your time and make these lessons a part of every part, it will happen for you.
Mm-hmm.
And believe me, you'll know when it happened. It feels good. Go ahead, continue.
Well, the importance of the instructions, because they're divine instructions,
Mm-hmm.
and the importance of reading them in sequence is because when you read them, you put out a spirit.
You put out an energy. Yes.
You put out a spirit. Remember,
Mm-hmm.
these are divine instructions.
Mm-hmm.
So it says the griefs and anxieties.
Go back to you said, "For evil he returneth not evil.
For evil he returneth not evil.
He
He hateth not even his enemies,
Mm-hmm.
but requiteth their injustice with the friendly admonition."
Now,
Mm-hmm.
it's not. There's nothing wrong with a friendly correction.
Right.
You see that?
Mm-hmm.
He didn't tell you have to be soft.
Yeah.
You gotta turn your cheek.
Mm-hmm.
He said there's a friendly admonition.
Mm-hmm.
So it is your duty to know how to respond to someone who is returning evil,
Mm-hmm.
or giving out an evil spirit or energy. Right. If you have that relationship, because
Mm-hmm.
even in being one or friends, you can
Mm-hmm.
develop something evil. You can return to your own children, your own spouse, your own
Mm-hmm.
family. But that friendly admonition is
Mm-hmm.
important.
But the only way that the admonition can be friendly if you feel your own imperfections.
Come on, Lord.
So you have to feel your own imperfections. It says the wise man feeleth his imperfections and is humbled. So when you stay grounded to your own imperfections, it makes it easier for you to forgive.
But that's just it, Brother Barry. You think that someone is thinking about their own imperfections?
No, it's not. But the more you practice, the more you will, because all of us are guilty of our own imperfections getting away from us.
Mm-hmm.
You have to stay, connected to your imperfections. The wise man feeleth his imperfections, his own imperfection, and it's humble, because your imperfections are what keep you humble.
Yes.
So when you're in tune with your own imperfections, it makes it more easy to demonstrate that friendly admonition.
I bear witness.
It makes it easier.
When you turn inwards, when you stop pointing the finger.
The first duty. Reflection is the business of man. A sense of his state is his first duty.
When you
the first duty
on your own, because most times you only see an evil of a past trauma. It happens from your own experience, and you start to push things outward instead of dealing with your own stuff.
Right.
And then you got a reason to blame somebody instead of reflecting on your own business.
Yes.
So reflection is the business of man. Continue to read. Thank you for that.
Yes, the griefs and anxieties of men excite his compassion. That's heavy.
That's heavy.
The griefs and anxieties of men excite his compassion. He endeavoreth to alleviate the weight of their misfortunes, and the pleasure of success rewardeth his labor. He calmeth the fury. He healeth the quarrels of angry men, and preventeth the mischiefs of strife and animosity. He promoteth in his neighborhood peace and goodwill, and his name is repeated with praise and benedictions. Very, very, very powerful.
So mighty piece right there.
Especially when you read it in sequence. Sometimes we take bits and pieces of the instructions,
Right.
and we use them to justify our own agendas. I know I've done it. You know,
Right.
I still done it. You know, it's just habit because we still
Mhm.
we still giving back those
You're
teachings.
giving it back.
So we're always in that process of giving back those teachings. So we'll take a piece of the instruction and we use it to fit our agenda or what we're trying to get across. But 9 times out of 10, and I learned this from myself.
Right.
I've taken instruction, a piece of an instruction, and I used it to fit my agenda. And then when I read the instruction in its entirety,
Right.
when I read it instruction for instruction, it wasn't even talking about that.
You try
That
to
was in my head.
Woo.
So we got to be careful. Make sure
Yeah.
we read these instructions in sequence.
I'm pretty sure we all have done that
Yes.
and still do that.
Yes.
Listen, it's a learning process.
Mhm.
You're learning to make these lessons a part of every part,
Yeah.
and it's going to take
Mhm.
probably many lifetimes.
That's why. See, this is why I can really appreciate a lot of the elders. So I listen to the elders, and when they read the instruction, they'll read 2 or 3 of them. They'll read it in sequence, and they'll read it. I get it.
Right.
I get it because when you don't read it in its entirety, sometimes it loses context.
Right.
It loses its context. So sometimes you have to keep it. And if you do just mention a piece of an instruction, make sure you bring it to its context.
Right.
We fail to do that a lot. We'll just shout out time never was, and reflection is the business, and we'll do this and we'll chop up instructions, but the listening audience who are not familiar with the instructions, we sometimes can be misleading.
Mm-hmm.
And because sometimes by way of no harm, yet we cause destruction.
Mm-hmm.
We all have that in us because we are truth and falsehood strangely mixed.
Mm-hmm.
And remember, it's the man of his knowledge that transcends our conception.
Right.
So sometimes we can get a little, that happens with everybody.
Right.
That's just that's man. Those are the imperfections of man. But as long as you stay grounded and stay on the path, stay on the path. Stay in the literature, the Holy Quran of the Moorish Temple of America. Read them chapters and read them again and study them. And you're not familiar with a word, look it up.
Look it up.
And strive to keep it in context, because that's what we are all guilty of, taking instructions out of context.
You know what I've learned, in homeschooling has taught me this. When you give too much to someone, or you take in too much, you're not really comprehending. Right. That's why I like what you said. Some of the elders, they read 1 or 2 instructions and they focus on that particular instruction.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're trying to get all of this at one time. Mm-hmm. You're not going to get it all.
No.
You're going to read one instruction over and over again and get something new from it every time.
Listen, if we can get it all at one time, we wouldn't be back here. Why do you think we all back here? Because we didn't get it the first time.
That's right.
So we return and we're trying to get it right this time. And you don't get it right this time, you'll be back. Right. You'll be back until you get it right. That's what it talks about when man loses his garb and he goes on a plane of soul. And what's waiting for him on a plane of soul?
Many more
foes. You know what I'm saying? Unnumbered foes. That's just talking about many lifetimes. Unnumbered foes. And guess who those foes are? Because I thought hard on that. I said, unnumbered foes. What foes going to be waiting? Mm-hmm. That's your stuff.
Your stuff. Your own stuff.
Your stuff is going to be waiting. Mm-hmm. Them foes, those are your foes. Mm-hmm. Those are the conditions you created throughout your many lifetimes. You have to deal with them.
Right.
You have to face them.
Mm-hmm. And you spoke of that. I have that as a keynote with the preparation age of soul. Mm-hmm. Right. It speaks about peace on earth and goodwill to men as well. It mentions quite a few times about peace on earth. So it's a preparation. It's a preparation age of soul, right? Mm-hmm. The preparation age of soul, so that we can change. We can change our conditions to function here, prepare for the soul plane, so that we'll know how to fight those foes.
Yes.
We're better be ready, and we won't have fear. Because in a lot of practice with some of the healers that I sit with,
Mm-hmm.
they speak about healing that person and giving prayer to the person who made the
Mm-hmm.
transition so they won't be afraid to travel.
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Fear is there, so then you get stuck, and the generations that you left behind are stuck.
Mm-hmm.
You
But what
know,
do you think? What do you think? What do you think the prophet gave us to prepare us for those foes? Remember, in that same, well, not in that same chapter, but in the chapter on the soul, it's three things we must do. I like to look at it as 3 degrees. With our soul,
right,
we must guard her,
right,
we must restrain her,
mm-hmm.
and we must correct her.
Right.
Guard her because she is rash, restrain her because she's irregular, and correct her because she is outrageous.
And what does the soul? What is the soul attributes? So you guard him from what?
Well, the soul attributes are the true sensations. It's you talking about the actions or the attributes?
The actions.
Oh, the actions: thinking, understanding, reasoning, willing.
So you guarding her from what?
Your thoughts, your thoughts, your understanding, your deeds, the things that you will, because we have, the prophet teaches that all creatures think. Mm-hmm. And all creatures are possessed the will, and his own measure have the power to choose. Because right. We have a will, we have the power to choose. Mm-hmm. So we have to always guard our soul against the choices we make.
Right.
We have to restrain her. Mm-hmm. From the choices we make, and we have to correct her. Mm-hmm. From the choices we make.
We do. We have to correct her.
And it's peace in all of that.
It's peace. It's peace.
It's peace. It's peace in it.
If peace had a sentence, if peace was a person, what would you give me? If peace was a thing, mm-hmm. How can you match peace with something? I'm just trying to exercise
with the prophets. With the prophets.
What?
With the prophets, with their pattern.
The peace with what? Because we honor all
true and divine prophets.
That's unity.
Right.
Right? Jesus, mm-hmm. Muhammad, Buddha, Confucius, etc.
Right.
That's what I would say. It's that unity that come back again and again. Mm-hmm. Because that is the love that Allah has for us. Mm-hmm. Allah wants us to have peace.
Peace, yes.
I'm giving you an instructor. Mm-hmm. He's sending us a messenger to open up all the books.
And it's not that you're absolutely correct. Allah is He wants us to have peace, but the reason why Allah wants us to have peace is because He's in here.
He's within.
He's in here. So, because remember, wisdom is the consciousness that man is ought. The Allah and man are one. So of course He's always striving. He's always striving for peace, because remember, He's
Islam. I don't know.
Sorry, we was muted.
Praise Allah. It's been so long. I don't know how long they were muted, but I'll go back to that house of
Mhm.
peace, right? So the house of peace, where no vain word or sinful discord will be heard. The holy
Mhm.
divine prophet Noble Jew Ali says that a follower of Islam, in the true sense of the word, is one who hands, tongue, and thoughts do not harm others.
Mhm.
So I just wanted to go back and read that.
Right.
When we
Mhm.
when we when we can exercise Islam, we exercise peace, because
Peace.
the
Mhm.
word Islam simply means peace.
Peace. Right.
So
That's right.
when we greet each other, we say Islam.
Islam.
When we depart, we say peace.
Peace. Mhm.
We saying the same
Same
thing.
thing. Yeah. It's
you know
peace in greeting and it's peace in departing.
and,
Yes.
and saying Islam does not hurt anyone.
No.
you know
Mm-mm.
Thank you for that, brother Anderson Bay.
Mhm.
Praise Allah, brother Bay. So um I asked you pretty much all of these questions right here about, well, not questions, the keynotes that I
Mhm.
spoke of. We want to speak more on that supreme duty. It's a daily practice.
Mhm.
It's a commitment.
Yes. It's a supreme duty.
Right.
Because it's grand. It's a grand responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can't even begin to fathom the magnitude of living at peace with your surroundings.
Right.
What does that mean? What does it look like? Because it means something and it looks like something. What does it mean to be at peace with one's surroundings? And I would start by saying, looking for the best in others, giving them the best within you.
Right.
Always being, as Mama Love say, conscious of being conscious, because
Mm-hmm.
knowing that no matter what you're going through
Mm-hmm.
with your brother man or your sister woman,
Mm-hmm.
that know that Allah is within them.
Allah is within.
And you have to always, no matter what you're going through in your engagements, you have to see the Allah.
Amen. Right.
See the Allah in man, see the Allah in women, same thing.
That's right.
And
Mm-hmm.
when you can focus on the Allah in each other,
Mm-hmm.
then that's truly being at peace.
And you see, when you read what is Islam, it says the goal of man.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yes.
The goal of man's life, according to Islam, is peace with everything.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a goal.
Yes.
To be at peace.
Mm-hmm.
So put that down as one of your goals.
Yes.
How do I strive to be at peace? And then you write it out. And when you write this out, you make it a part of every part.
Mm-hmm. And it's very important. We have to strive to learn to keep peace within ourselves. Because in order to give peace, you have to have a sense of it. You have to be at peace with yourself, because our Quran talks about, and I think it's in constancy.
Mm-hmm.
When it talks about, who you have no peace in his soul, he can't be at peace with nothing. Nobody he concerned himself with. I'm paraphrasing, right. Excuse me. Mm-hmm. But you can't be, if you have no peace in your soul, right. Then you can't even be at peace with anybody or anything you concern yourself with, right? Because your own soul is taking vengeance on you. Mm-hmm. Because you're not guarding her, you're not restraining her, and you're not correcting her.
Right.
You have to always be conscious of those three. Guarding her, restraining her, and correcting her. Mm-hmm. Because if you don't, she can escape us.
So the instruction says, the inconstant have no peace in his soul.
Mm-hmm.
Neither can be at peace, be at ease.
Be at ease.
Whom he concerned himself with.
Yes. Yeah. Wow. When we're constantly creating disturbances, and we're constantly, creating turbulence, and we're constantly creating chaos, then we know that the soul is not at peace.
Right.
We know mm-hmm. that. So when your soul, your own soul is not at peace, because first you have to recognize these things about yourself,
right,
before you can recognize them in anyone else. When you be able, because we are the first lesson. Right. You learn how to see your own imperfections, and you learn how to know when your soul is not at peace. Right. And then you'll be able to assists others when their soul is not at peace.
Right, right. And this is what the temple of Sakara represented.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be at peace with yourself.
Yes.
You have
Yes.
you have to be washed from those
Mhm.
sinful ways, those thoughts.
That's what all of the temples, Jaguanoth, the temple of Heliopolis, all of those temples were healing temples, and they were all temples to guide us to the peace, to find man's final abode. That's what those temples are. Actually, our planet is used as a template,
right,
for what goes on inside of us. Like we have, I think Moses talking about the chakras. The seven chakras are actually, our planet is a template for the seven chakras. We have 7 major temples that lines up against the Nile River. And those temples are symbolic to the energy centers within us. Right. We have 7 of them from the bottom of the Nile that goes all the way up to the top of the Nile. 7 major temples. We have 7 major energy centers within us, because the planet is a temple. Remember, the prophet said our body is as the globe of the earth.
That's right. That's right.
You see, that's how the ancient, remember, the Nile River was dredged by our ancient forefathers.
That's right.
They done this on purpose. This is all done by design. The planet is a template.
That's right.
For what goes on inside of man. That's why it says, know thyself in Allah. Right. Know thyself, because to know thyself is to know all things.
All create, and Allah is all.
Right, it's to know all things. So, always keep in mind that the planet is a reflection of us. That body is as the globe of the planet. That bones are the pillars that sustain it on its basis. And then in the breath of heaven, the prophet goes on to make the comparison. He does an analogy with the macrocosm and the microcosm. He says, what's that? How that instruction go? About the billows. This way shall thy billows roll. As the breath of heaven saying to the waters of the deep, this way shall thy billows roll.
Thus high and no higher shall they raise their fury.
That's the consciousness of Allah commanding the rivers. But then he go on to come on. That's the macrocosm. And then it brings it to the microcosm, and they start telling us
inward
to direct the flesh.
That's right.
It's telling you to to do as the Father Allah does.
Yeah.
He's in you.
Right.
As he commands this oceans, you command the flesh.
Like
get that instruction. We gotta get that verbatim, the breath of heaven.
Yes.
We gotta get that verbatim. I can't chop that up like that.
Where
is that?
The
breath of heaven.
Do this. Hold on.
That's chapter 37, right?
Chapter 37, it says, as the breath of heaven saith unto the waters of the deep,
this way shall thy billows roll.
And no other thus high, and no higher shall they raise their fury.
That's Allah. Now come on.
Ooh. So let thou spirit, O man, actuate and direct thy flesh. So let it repress its wilderness.
See?
The body is as the globe of the earth, thy bones the pillar that sustain it on its basis. As the ocean giveth rise.
And this is a breathing technique.
I was great to do some breathing exercises. As the ocean, come on,
because this is happening inside of us.
Giveth rise to springs, whose waters return again into its bosom through the rivers. So runneth thou life from thou outwards, and runneth it into its place again.
Outward, inward. Remember, this is the breath of heaven. The spirit of Allah. Heaven is what? A state of mind. This is the spirit of a state of mind.
That's right.
The breath of heaven.
State of mind. That's one of my favorite chapters.
Yes, very, very powerful chapter.
Where was it? Because I like this instructions here. It's just speaking. As the ocean giveth rise to spring, whose waters return again into its bosom through the rivers, so runneth thy life from thy outwards, and so runneth it into its place again. Do not both retain their course forever? Behold, the same Allah ordained them.
That's right. That's right. The oneness. The oneness. That's a powerful chapter, and I like to look at it as just scratching the surface, because it's so much You know, this can't be circumscribed.
It can't be circumscribed.
It cannot be circumscribed.
And so, I mean, in reading that, remember, are not thou eyes the sinners that watch for thee? Yet how often are they unable to distinguish truth from error? Take a deep breath before you start judging about what you see, because it may not be what you see. We're speaking from experience.
Yes.
We're not talking about nobody else. We're talking about what we do.
That's right.
Or what we're learning to do consistently. Keep thy soul in moderation. Teach thy spirit to be attentive to its good. And so shall these its ministers be always to thee conveyances of truth. Thine hand, is it not a miracle? Is there in the creation aught like unto it? Wherefore was it given thee, but that thou mightest stretch it out to the assistance of thy brother? Why of all things living art thou alone made capable of blushing? The world shall read thy shame upon thy face. Therefore do nothing shameful. Fear and dismay, which rob thy countenance of its ruddy splendor. Avoid guilt, and thou shalt know that fear is beneath thee, that dismay is unnamely. Wherefore to thee alone speaks shadows in the vision of the pillow. Reverence them, for know that dreams are from on high. Though man alone can speak, wonder at thou glorious prerogative, and pay to him who gave it to thee a rational and welcoming praise. Teaching thou children wisdom, instructing the offspring of thy loins in piety. So we are supposed to teach spirituality to our children. You know? I mean, we read a couple of instructions, you know, and this is what me and Brother Berry Bay do. We read an instruction or maybe a whole chapter and we just start expounding. So we're sharing with you what we do.
Because these instructions, they will take you places that you didn't have no plan on going.
Right.
You know, because this is a divine, these are divine instructions.
Divine instructions.
And you know, they it's spirit. It's these instructions are from the highest plane of spirit life. So they'll guide you. You know, sometimes you're going in one direction and it'll take you somewhere else.
And it'll take you in another.
Because you know, man plans, but
allows the
best of planners.
Yes.
You know.
Indeed.
But peace, supreme duty. Supreme duty. Our supreme duty is to be at peace with our surroundings.
I want to say, you know, Brother Berry Bay and I, we sharing how we study, and I think it's a beautiful thing to share with the Moors. We're not saying that the way we interpret the Quran,
right,
is the way you have to interpret it. You know, we are all spirits and children of Allah. You know.
Let me speak to that.
Sure.
You know, there was a time when I first started, you know, studying the Quran, the Moor Science Temple of America, and I was reading it, and one of the struggles I had is I was trying to interpret this like other people.
Right.
And I had to take a step back and say, that's not how you do this.
Right.
You don't try to interpret this because that's how some people teach it.
Right.
They'll basically tell you can't know this unless I teach you it.
Right.
So you kind of listening to that and you go, okay. So you're trying to interpret this and absorb this, but you can't absorb something. Somebody can't absorb anything for you, and you can't absorb it for them. That's not how this works. That's why it talks about the gifts of the understanding are the treasures of Allah, and He appointed to everyone their portion and what measure seemed good unto Him. You know, so everybody has their measure, and how do we know it works? How do you know it? How do we know? How do you know you have the right measure? Is it working for you?
Right.
Then you have the right measure. Are you evolving? Is it enhancing your character? You know, if it's doing those things for you, then it's working for you.
Right.
You know, we know you'll know if it's working because you're going to be your growth and development going to speak for itself.
Yes.
So you'll know if it's working for you. That's how you know. But you can't try to interpret this how other people interpret it because. You know, we all don't have the same level of comprehension.
We don't.
Or understanding. We don't all vibrate on the exact same frequency. So everybody is going to get what they can get. You know, and you take what you can get, but whatever you get, you use it.
Use it. So I just want to share something, you know, that I brought out of my lessons in study. Purpose, peace, makers, keepers of harmony.
Mm-hmm.
That's what peace is. Peace, you're a maker, you're a keeper of harmony. You are born to restore balance to this world. So think of it that way. When you
Mm-hmm.
read these instructions, you are restoring balance. We're learning how to function. You can't
Mm-hmm.
function if you don't
Mm-hmm.
have peace in your heart.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So remember, you're restoring the balance within yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And this way you can show someone else.
Mm-hmm.
And that's right. You make it a part of every part. You are here to help people accept and appreciate each other
Mm-hmm.
by showing. Remember, you hear Moors always say the family is the first nation.
Right. Yes.
So as your nation at home, all of this starts at home. It's ministry that starts at home.
Mm-hmm.
The peace mother turns conflict into cooperation.
Mm.
When you at peace, you turn conflict into cooperation. You know how to cooperate
Mm-hmm.
within yourself and others. As the
Mm-hmm.
keeper of harmony, it is in your native to bring out the best in others as you give them the best in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's a social skill.
Mm-hmm.
You learn how to be social. Uh, People trust your point of view. When you at peace, people trust your point of view. You are fair and impartial. Your ability to sympathize is remarkable. And
Mm-hmm.
that's and this is I pulled some of these words that you hear me reading from other people that I learned from,
Mm-hmm.
and I put their words in with the
Mhm.
prophet lessons,
Mm-hmm.
and I try
We
to.
don't put the words.
Well, I don't
in
put
with
it. You know what I mean. I
Yeah.
try to
You
make it.
measure it.
I
You try to
measure it.
measure. Yeah.
I measure it to show
Yeah.
you that this is the strive.
Mm-hmm.
Truth is one thought.
Yeah.
It's only one thought. It's
Truth
but
is
one
one, but it expresses itself through
in
a multitude of tongues.
Right.
You know, it comes in. Truth comes in many different. She comes in many different forms.
Right.
But we spoke about supreme duty, our first duty, and maybe next show we can talk a little bit about our duty to kindness, social duties,
Yeah.
our
Which,
social duties. Remember, it talks about it's our duty to be a friend to mankind.
and that brings freedom. That
Right.
would be freedom, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, to speak about kindness, that's
Yes.
that's a sense of freedom.
Yeah.
To be kind,
Right.
because you're being kind to yourself first. Praise
Mhm.
Allah. Thank you. You starting something already. You praise
Yes.
Allah.
You know?
I like to give shout out to all the Moors that's in tune and sharing their
Mhm.
thoughts. Sister
Mhm.
Jordan Neal's here.
Mm-hmm.
G Bay.
Mm-hmm.
I saw
Islam to Temple 34.
Temple
We had a
34.
very
Yeah.
very good time at their charter day this past Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was a really, really great. You know, it was the great meeting was on. You know, so Islam to all the Moors at Temple 34.
Right.
It was a
I see Paris,
beautiful,
Hardy Bay,
beautiful experience.
Ibn Atkinson.
Mm-hmm.
I see some names here, brother.
And the theme of this season is 5 shows. So each show is representing one of the principles. First show was love, truth. This is the third show, peace. You know, love, truth, peace. Next show will be freedom, and then the last one will be justice.
Right.
So
I'm pretty sure they
dedicated
this
season to the 5 principles, the highest 5 principles of man. We dedicated this season to the children of Allah, because love, truth,
That's
peace.
That's a fact.
You know, Allah is the Father of the universe, but He's also the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice.
I like to rise again in thought, giving praises to Allah, honor to the Prophet, giving honor to everything that you have given honor to, my dear husband, Brother Barry Bay. We're coming to a close, and we would like to have our last closing words, if you will.
Well, you have to do remarks. You have to give remarks. The announcements, right?
Yeah, we do the announcement after we do the closing word, right?
No, we do the announcements
first. Okay. Yeah. All right, so let's do this announcements. On Friday, this coming Friday, our holy day, we have our holy day meeting with the national Facebook page at 7:30. On Sunday, we have Sunday school at 2 p.m. also on our national page, and you can also tune in on YouTube. We have Girl Talk, Real Talk, Morris Talk coming up on Monday at 7 p.m. and also Universal Love at 7 p.m. That will be with the Adams Space. Praise Allah for your interaction and all your words that you are sharing here today. Your participation is much appreciated, you know. But Brother Baby.
Yeah, thank the Moors. Happy Wellness Wednesday. Happy Wellness Wednesday, Moors.
Yes.
Keep striving for purity, because purity paves the way. Without purity, and remember, when we strive for purity, we striving for John the Baptist, and we striving for Marcus Garvey, because they were purity who paved the way. Don't forget the Marcus Garvey degree. That's how we improve ourselves with purity. Remember, Marcus Garvey headed the Negro improvement. It was Negro improvement. Of course, we know that we're not Negroes,
right?
But in those days, that's how our people identified. So he wanted to improve upon that. So he paved way for the prophet, and the prophet came behind him, and the prophet improved behind that and took away those marks.
That's right.
But we have to constantly stay conscious of purity, because purity pays. Sometimes we want love, but we skip purity.
Wow.
Strive for purity in life.
Come on.
Strive for the forerunner.
Right.
Don't skip the forerunner lesson. That's why.
Don't do that.
He's the forerunner.
That's why.
You skip that lesson.
That's
improve
right.
upon your imperfections. Improvement. That's purity, and purity paves the way for love.
I appreciate that demonstration. It's a reminder every time we have these discussions. It's a reminder of what we should be doing, what's our duty, and what we are charged with.
That's right.
We're charged to build ourselves up, build up our characters, and serve
That's
the
right.
nation, serve humanity. That is most profound. There's nothing greater you can do than serve your humanity.
That's right.
And yourself.
That's
so
right.
Praise Allah. Thank you for your demonstration.
Thank you. It's an honor.
We said enough. So we will meet you again on another Wellness Wednesday. And with that, we say
peace on earth, goodwill to men. Peace, Lord.